Welcome to The Table, a podcast where we share real stories, struggles, and victories as we walk together in faith. I'm really excited to be back with you all this week to share a conversation with two of my good friends, Kayla Cain and Amy Johnston. This is a first for the podcast, having two guests at the same time. So I hope you enjoy this first episode where Kayla and Amy talk about things that they're feasting on, ways that they find fellowship, and areas where they're needing forgiveness. You'll have to come back and join us next week to hear more of their story in part 2 of this episode. So grab a seat and join us for this week's conversation.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the table.
Hello. Thanks for having us. I have my To the Table shirt on and everything.
I know. I saw that. Man, I'm so excited to have you two here today, Amy and Kayla. You guys have been champions of the podcast. I don't know that there's been a week yet, Kayla, that you don't come to me at church and say, I heard this thing in the podcast, or I had this thought because I listened to the episode. You guys have just really encouraged this work from the very beginning. So I'm excited to have you here for that reason, because it's fun to bring people that really have cared about and loved on us through this process here. But also, you have a lot to share, and I've just been really looking forward to this conversation today for a while. So I'm so excited that you're here with us today. Um, I usually do some like thinking back on how in the world I know the guests that are coming on. And kind of like our guest from last week, Christy Holt was here. I don't really remember a time when I didn't know you. Like, I don't even remember meeting you, probably because I was such a little kid. Like, we've just been in church together my whole life, honestly. So I'm really excited. I will tell people your actual names. How about that? We have Kayla Cain is here, and you're here with your mom, Kayla Amy Johnston. And like I said, I don't have a time where I didn't know you and your family. So I'll talk a little bit more about like how this came to be, but I want to give you both an opportunity to introduce yourself to people who maybe don't know you.
My age before beauty.
So I'm Amy Johnston. I am a daughter, a mother, a wife, and my most important title is a Mamie. And
Not everyone knows what Mamie is.
Mamie is, I'm a grandmother, and Mamie
What's your
came
grandma
from.
name?
Yes,
That's
that's
my
her
grandma
name.
name.
It's not a normal
Yes.
one, but
Yeah, it's not normal, but it came from a friend of mine that we met when I was 8 weeks old, and I think she was like 16 weeks old, and she couldn't say Amy, so Mamie. And so my whole life,
I love it.
so
weeks old.
Sweet.
yes, we were babies.
What 18 weeks old are not talking though.
No. But later on, she
Oh,
came.
okay.
Because we went to the same babysitter.
Sorry, my bad.
We met back then.
Thanks for clarifying. I'm so excited to get to do this. You guys are the first group that we've had, like 2 people. Obviously, the podcast has been 3 people lots of times, but you're the first duo of guests, and I'm just excited to do this.
Bless you.
Ready for the
So,
train wreck?
Kayla, I want you to introduce yourself, and then like you can introduce your mom a little bit more because I think she's holding back a little bit on who she is.
Oh gosh. I'm Kayla Cain. Most importantly, I'm a child of God. I was saved when I was 8 years old. I'm a wife to my husband Taylor. We've been married for 6 years in April. I'm mom to Liam, my bonus kid. I gained him with marriage. And then my little Novi, Grace, daughter to my mom, Amy and Nathan. I am a grandchild to my Nana and Gray. I'm a VP at my parents' company. And my mom is probably one of the strongest people I know. Equally like difficult because we're so similar. But her and my Gray have really been like my people that just inspired me. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My mom got pregnant when she was 18. Had me when she was 19. My biological dad just never showed up. And she just did the thing. She rose to what had to be done, and sacrificed college, doing 20s at all, and raised me, made sure I was in church anytime those doors were open. I mean, 6 o'clock business meetings back in the day. Um, if 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 there was people meeting at the church, we were there. Um, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have such a strong conviction with my kids of, you know, if we're doing churches before a whole bunch of things, which is not cool in society these days.
On the sacrifice, I don't look at it as a sacrifice because my life was a train wreck before. um, so it was a blessing in disguise having her, and it actually drew me closer to God. So I don't look at it as I sacrificed anything. I was a mother and I was raising my child and wanted her to know that she was the most important thing next to God. She was the most important thing
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. When I think about the two of you, a couple of things that you mentioned are the first things I think about. You have a large family and you are so close. And I think that really marks you. Like, that's just something I think about when I think about you guys. And because you have such a large family, Kayla, you specifically, and Amy, you too, like you come from such a lineage of faith. Like the people, faith in is just such an important part of your life and your family. And so I'm glad that you shared a little bit more, Kayla, about who all of those people are, and and really, I think gave some shed some good light on just what your mom has done and who she is to you and the relationship that you guys have. And I think that's going to be really important as we kind of jump into some of the other questions that we're going to talk about. So I appreciate that. There are no right and wrong answers. So let's jump into a little bit about you right now, and then we'll shift into what we're going to talk about today. So one of the questions that I ask all of our guests is about feeding your spirit. And so, whoever wants to go first, it doesn't matter. What's something that you're doing lately this week, the last couple of weeks that really is fueling your spirit?
I would say there's some on the Bible app, the plans that they have. Kayla has started with the family doing picking plans for us to do. And they're so encouraging. And it's something I know I need to do every day. And so that's what's
Yeah,
feeding me. She's the plans she's been choosing have been so perfect for this season of life that we're in. And so that has
yeah.
really been encouraging to me and been where I've gone to spend time with him. And it makes me every day, almost every day. I skip some days, but it makes me or encourages me to spend time with him every day.
Really setting the pressure for the next plans I choose.
Yep.
For me, yes, that's been so good, but we've been doing the Bible recap with Liam. Taylor and I have been. And it's been so nice. We hook the laptop up to the TV. We listen to as we like read through the Bible. And then we we listen to the watch little video that she has bringing it down, Tara Lee Coble. And then we have the book and we go through questions, and it's just been so nice really diving into the Bible all together. Especially like Taylor and Liam have never read through the Bible together, or have never read through the Bible, period. This is probably my fourth time. But it's not this time's different because it's not like a checklist thing. Like, let's just get it read. It's let's see what God has to tell us and why is this relevant? Why did God include this in the Bible? And also, so often our kids see the worst of us, so it's nice, like, getting to also share hopefully a better part of Taylor and I with Liam. And even like Nobi like is already seeing this and like wants to be involved, and so hopefully just instilling a light in her as well.
I think that's really, I think there's something really special, and both of you talked about this, about studying the same thing with people that you love or like people in your community. Just to know that, like, I woke up this morning and I listened to this, or I woke up this morning and I read this, and I know you read the same thing. And so it's on both of our hearts, and we are kind of like growing towards God and moving towards God in the same direction at the same time. And I think that's really sweet. Have you had a favorite plan that you guys have done? Obviously, the Bible recap, which we'll link. We're huge fans of
Oh,
that
wow.
here.
That's a hard one.
That is
Alter Ego.
Alter Ego.
That was really good.
Really good. It's a Bible plan, but it's also a book by Craig Rochelle.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm
Love him
currently
too.
reading
Yep.
the book right now, and it's how so often we let the world define us, or other people, or we let Satan's lies define us, and that's not who God says we are. The only way for you to know what God says about you and who you are is to get into the Word. We'll get there later, but like our family's in a season, and it's one of those where like we wouldn't be making it if God wasn't carrying us. And to do these things together, we're putting on our armor together as a front, going into battle. We're doing spiritual warfare right now, but we're also not called to do it alone. And so I do think we're called to do it with our family, our community, and the people around us.
Yeah. I agree. I'm gonna put both of those in the show notes for people so they can find the Bible app study and then the book too, because I also love Craig Rochelle. I haven't even heard of this one, so I'm excited to go check it out for myself.
You need to. It's good.
Yeah. It reminds me of well, this is maybe something it shouldn't remind me of, but there's a TikTok trend where it's like this one person, it's a sound, I guess. I'm not super social media savvy, as everyone knows, but it's like, oh, did you eat healthy today? No. Did you go outside at all today? No. Did you exercise today? No. Did you sleep good last night? No. Have you, stayed away from social media? No. And they go through all these things. They're like, I have no idea why you feel terrible. And that's what it makes me think of when you're talking about, like, have you been in the Word today? No. Have you talked to the Lord today? No. Have you been with your community? No. And we were created. We were actually created to be in relationship with God and other people. And that's the only way that we get through this life in a way that is even the least bit enjoyable. And so I love that's just what it made me think of when you're talking about starting putting your armor on together. I love that analogy.
So maybe you need to make that TikTok.
Yeah,
About
maybe
the
that's
God
going to be
like
some of our
relationship.
content this week.
Good.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to move us into our second question. And this is about community. And you've kind of already talked about this a little bit. But tell me, where are you guys finding fellowship lately? Like, where are some places where you're getting fellowship with other people, other believers?
VBS right now has been huge. It's always a blessing just to be there with everyone because I see these people on Sunday morning, but I don't take the time to sit and talk with them. Well, I can during VBS, and that's nice.
I just feel like I'm barely surviving during VBS.
Yes.
I was about to say, your experience is a little different, Kayla.
Yes, my experience is a little different. It has been so neat. This is not my answer, but just piggyback on that. Like, just seeing God move in these kids' lives. Because I've been with, right now they're 4 and 5, but I've been with this group for 3 years now. It's my Novi age. We tried 1 year not being her teacher. It did not go well. And so we were just like, well, we both work. And so taking away nighttime time with her just to serve her or our family. So like, we'll just teach her age group. And it sounded like a great idea at the time, and here we are 3 years later. And Dylan Clemens was actually joking about me teaching them. We've got their oldest, Lila, and doing the like teaching them all the way through high school, and I'm like, or call it teenage, whatever.
Yeah.
It's so neat seeing these kids change over the years. Like, we've had some that the first year, they just like being away from mom or dad was just overwhelming. It was like horrible. And like anytime mom and dad were near, they had to hide, and like we couldn't see them, to where now like they'll like go up and say hi to mom and dad, or like see them and be totally unaffected. And seeing God like just, you know, work in their little hearts, and it's just really special. Or like seeing the ones that like the little wallflowers like jump in and join the party during music and dance. But anyways, my answer to that is my bar ladies, Pure Bar, not like the drinking bar. And so it's a community that I joined. It's been over 2 years now. And my little cousin Maddie, who works with me, also I wrangled her into it as well. And it started with just mental rest and healing. You can like go in, turn your brain off, and just they tell you what to do. You can move your body, and just, you know, just check out for 50 minutes, and it's amazing. But it's really turned into, I've never been a part of a huge group of women where there's just no competition, and it's not like high school. It's not catty. We're like, you know, for each other, and we quite literally laugh together. We pray for each other, cry together. Like, we had a girl had lost in our family just last week, and you know, Monday we're hugging her as she's crying, and like just letting her, you know, be broken, and just being there for her, to just meet her in the brokenness. And it's turned out to be, we're doing life together with these women, and it's so amazing and so full of love. I'm a huge proponent of like, come to bar in Hendersonville. It's such a special place. Like, God is really like moving in this place of, it's amazing. I'm about it. You should come. You can come. Your first time's free, Catherine. You should come with me one time.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I will. I mean, I've heard you talk about it so much, but I've never done it. So we'll have everybody that has questions. I'm just gonna send them back to you, and you can get people hooked up with some
Yes,
Pure Bar. I
please.
think they'll enjoy that. Yeah. I have two thoughts. The first one, Kayla, is about about bar. Because I think sometimes we look for our fellowship and community in faith spaces. Like a lot of people that I've had on the podcast, myself included, that's one of my greatest places to find fellowship, or with other believers. But I think it's really cool that you talked about a not faith space. Not because there's not faith there, right? But because that's a
Gotcha.
really, yeah, it's a unique opportunity for you to share your faith and the love of God with other people who might not see it otherwise. And I just think that's really refreshing to talk about going to a place where you went there, you said, for mental rest and to work out. That was the purpose. But in doing that, you found a community of people who are believers and are not believers, that you can live life with and encourage and share more of Jesus with them in your, how many days a week do you go?
Usually 5 or 6. This week with VBS,
Yeah.
I have only made it once so far. But normally 5 or 6 days a
Yeah.
week. So like, I see these women all the time.
Yeah.
So it's really, it was a community I was not looking for, but God knew I needed. And
Yeah.
you know, He finds us in the unexpected. And it is so amazing, because there are women that, yes, are Christians, but then there's also people that aren't, and I get to show up, and no, I may not say like, I'm a Christian and you should be too, or let me give you a Bible. But I can show up
Right.
and I can love like Jesus, and I can have a smile on my face, and I can just be the hands and feet of Jesus. And that's meeting people where they are, not where, they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I had a very humbling moment earlier this year, actually. There was these girls that came in, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of judged them. I don't normally do this. I don't know what happened. It was a bad day. But I just like made judgment on them, and I should not have. It was wrong. Me and God had to have a talk with it. And God, you really humbled me to where like we start talking one day, and one of the girls like will now come up to me when she sees me, and she's like, "You're my prayer warrior. Like, this is what's going on." Her family's going through it right now as well.
Yeah.
And so she came up to me one day and was just like, "I need your prayers. You're my prayer warrior. Let me." And I just was like, wow, I am the scum of the earth, actually. But it's so just, God uses us even when we're not expecting it.
Yeah.
Um, and he meets us where we're not looking for him. And that's
Yeah.
been a place where I wasn't looking for him in that place, but he was there. And he knew I needed that. He knew I needed those women. And maybe they needed me. I don't know. But he has definitely moved in that place, which is the most important thing. Also, the
Yeah.
Wednesday night class that I recently joined with you ladies
Oh, I love the class.
has been so amazing too,
It is.
and it's been so like very much needed with this time in life and season.
Yeah, I agree. I love all that you said. I also love the Wednesday night class too. But Amy, I wanted to ask a question, like make a comment about your answer too, because I think a lot of people would assume that because you have such a big family and you guys have been at our church for so long, that you are so it's like overwhelmed by community and fellowship when you're there at church. And I think you make such a good point. Is like honestly, there's not a lot of time for fellowship when you're there for service. Like, we all show up and we maybe go to Sunday school, then we go into the service on Sunday morning, and then we pack up our stuff and head home. And there's not a lot of time to fellowship in those spaces, but just because of the way that they're designed. And I think on Wednesday night we have a little bit of time that we can
Yes.
like chat, but we're still trying to like get into the word and have discussion about things that we're learning. And I have so enjoyed that about this week too. Someone asked me, they're like, "How is it? Are you drowning? Is it so hard?" And I'm like, honestly, I get to just walk around and have conversations with people that I don't normally get to talk to, and then ask people how I can help them. So it's like the dream. It's the dream job.
Yes.
But I find that a lot too. That even some of my really good friends at church, we don't even talk at church because we're wrangling children, or we're in a class and listening to someone teach, or we're trying to focus on the 20 minutes of the sermon that we're hearing, and there's just not a lot of time for fellowship. So I appreciate you bringing that point up, because I think people are going to feel like they can just take a breath knowing that that's how other people experience it too. It's really hard to have moments of fellowship unless you're at an event that allows for that, like we've been this week. It's hard. Okay. We're gonna go into our last question, which is always a doozy. So many people have been telling me or texting me saying, "Wow, that is the third question, huh?" So for all of our listeners, guys, what is something that you are needing forgiveness for recently?
There's a few things. Completely honest. Our church, things in our church, people in our church, the way I feel about things. Um, I need to ask God for forgiveness for those things. I'm bitter right now about church, and I should not be. God's moving. everything, his timing's perfect. His will is going to be done. And I've got to remember that. And then just in this season that we're in our family, I'm very tired and it's a lot physically for me. And my patients are running really thin. And so my family, I need to seek forgiveness from my family for my shortness that I've had with all of them. And it's not fair to them. They're all tired. They're all going through the same season. So I need to seek forgiveness from y'all.
Who I've been waiting
For
that.
for
I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Both of those things are so hard. I think you guys are in a really unique seat with your family being at our church for so long and being so well connected and having such deep relationships with the people there. It's really hard. And it is a hard season. I think I forget often that your church and your leaders should be in my prayers more often than they probably are. But then you move into a transition, and it feels even more weighty and even more um, like top of mind. And so I think it's a really good reminder that we all probably I told Justin this week even, I'm just trying to remind myself that I'm not actually in control and that God has a great plan for what he's going to do. And me sitting here worrying about what that might be isn't helping anything. Like what God will do, he will do. And this is a really good time to practice, even though I don't like it, practice like reopening my hands and laying it back down and taking it back in prayer. So I'm right there. It's hard. It's uncertainty, I think, is not fun for anyone. So I appreciate you sharing that. Kayla?
Mine would be this year with all the things. I have been way less patient with my family as well, especially my husband and kids. I told you Tuesday, I was like, oh my goodness, I have probably yelled more than ever today, and we've got the podcast coming Friday, and I'm supposed to be a good Christian woman right now, and it's just not happening.
Yeah.
But thankfully, God is so much bigger than our lacking, right? And He can fill the cracks and
Yeah.
restore the broken. But another thing that I've had to ask God's forgiveness for, probably need to ask my husband too, because he has to like hear about it. I've really been struggling for several months now with allowing Satan's lies and Satan's voice to be louder than God's. And I've questioned not necessarily God, but what I'm supposed to be doing, and uh, feeling like a failure in teaching the class at church, the not necessarily VBS, but there's plenty of I mess up in there too. The younger adults, yeah, I just feel like I'm failing them. I feel like I'm failing my kids as a mom. And like feel like I'm failing at work, and just that is how Satan attacks me. I'm a huge critic of myself to the point where it compromises my relationship with God. It compromises my walk. And funny, the Bible recap, when Abraham is called to sacrifice Isaac, he knew what the call was and God spoke to him. But what I had always missed was prior to or between the call and the making it to the mountain, there was 3 days of travel. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't say God talked to him in those 3 days. And so it had to have been the most deafening walk. And they had servants with them. They had the things they would need. And at some point, I imagine someone probably said, "Well, where's the animal we're going to sacrifice, though?"
Yeah.
And so it really just reminded me that. But when I feel like God is silent, or I let Satan get too loud, I just need to go back to, what did God call me to do? Right? Where was the call? And let's keep doing that. Let's get back to serving and like turn down Satan. So that's been something I'm having to really pray through, really stay in my Bible, stay in intentional time, right? Not just checklisting things, because it's tough when we get in that cycle of just listening to Satan's lies.
Yeah, you said something that I think is really, I mean, you said a lot of important things, but you made a comment that stuck out to me is that you know that that is how Satan attacks you, is by putting lies into your mind about who you are. And I am should stop being surprised at this point because this happens every time. But usually the things that the person across from me says are things that I'm wrestling with in my own life too, and I don't know that ahead of time. But that's been something I have a follow-up question, I promise. That's been something that I have struggled with is I don't even know that I always realize that the thing that I'm believing is a lie until it's done its damage and it's like made me believe something about myself or about my situation or about my ability, whatever it is. And then in hindsight, I can look back and say, oh man, that wasn't true. So I think I've been having conversations with people and working through like, why do I believe that about myself? Like, who is that really true? Or is that a lie that the enemy has made me believe? How did you start to become aware, realize that the things that you were believing were lies?
Um, I think I'm very self-aware, I would say, just in general.
Yeah, okay.
Of myself, not always of like my surroundings. Sometimes I'm oblivious to outside things, but of myself,
Yeah,
I'm usually pretty aware. And so even while it's happening, like I know this is Satan attacking me. But it just still feels so overwhelming. And so I guess it's kind of like AA, like acknowledgement is the first step, you know,
yeah,
but it doesn't end in just acknowledging. So my problem is like making myself probably be still and give God time to speak. And I'm just more like, have you ever seen that SpongeBob episode where like it goes in his brain and there's like the fire and everyone's running crazy and they're shredding paper and it's just like, I kind of turn into that. Like, I know there's a problem. I know what the problem is, but like, we just need to get it fixed and we just need to get back on track. And I just need to like, you know, or I just want
yeah,
to like stay in bed and never get up again. And neither
yeah.
of those streams are good or healthy. So acknowledging it for me is pretty easy. I'm pretty good at like telling Taylor like I'm struggling right now. This is what I'm struggling with. But I think more of what I don't do is like get in my word and say, okay, this is what I'm feeling, but what does God say is true? And when
Hmm.
I do read it, believing it, and knowing that
Yeah,
God did make me on purpose for a reason. It's super easy for me to say that to other people and like tell other people like God's gonna he qualifies the called. He doesn't call the qualified. But sometimes it's like a man in the mirror situation where knowing that there was a call. God did, he called me to be a wife. He called me to be a mom. He called me to be the vice president of my parents' company. He called me to teach that younger adult class and to do the call even when it feels silent. You know, we still have to journey to the call, uh, even when it's hard.
hmm.
So I think I more struggle with like picking myself back up and like taking the next right step.
And keep going. Yeah, yeah. I don't think you're alone in that. I think a lot of people probably struggle with that too. Amy, are you the same way? Are you like pretty quick to pick up on the lies that the enemy tries to tell you?
I am now. I didn't used to be, but I am now, and I'll catch myself just like, nope, not today, Satan, or get behind
Yeah.
me. And I'll just say it out loud, get behind me. And I'll say, Satan, no, I know this is not of God. And when I say those things, it helps me. And then sometimes I'll just say, Alexa, shuffle Amy's Christian list and just and the songs that come on.
Yeah.
Um, Alexa probably gets tired of me being hateful with her, but it's just sometimes when Satan does that, I'm like, Alexa.
Yeah. I need you
So,
now. Play now.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah. This was not, we didn't plan to talk about this, but I really appreciate it because I think I've started to see those lies more frequently, and been able to say, like, oh, that is not true. Like, you've gotten
Mhm.
me in this before, and I'm not doing it now. I think about Justin and I had an argument, and I don't, he's not here, so I'll tell him later that I told this story. But I don't even know, like, I didn't even say it to him, but we had a disagreement about, I was just feeling overwhelmed, which, if you ask him, this is the same disagreement we have like every 6 months. We have one fight over and over and over. And I was overwhelmed, and it was not good. We have both apologized since, but in the moment, he just like picked up something and started deep cleaning our house. Like, I had like 100 things I needed to do, and he just started doing it. And that was what I needed. I needed help from him. But as soon as he started getting stuff done, the enemy started making me think things like, wow, it took him 20 minutes to do this thing that would have taken you 3 hours. Like, why can't you take care of your house? Or he is so much better at doing this thing. Like, why can't you just focus for 10 minutes and get it done too? And in that moment, I was like, no, God is like, he is helping me, and that's what I needed. You're not going to take this, what should be win and like moment of growth for us, and like a moment to breathe, and turn it into this shameful thing. Like, and that's a silly example, but I think it's been
Oh,
easier for me to see those moments where it's very clear that the thing that I'm trying to believe is a lie and not from God. It doesn't come from what he's called me to your point, Kayla.
so I don't think that's a silly example because I think so often we get caught up in what we think um we should be and how we should be and how we should portray our lives.
Yeah.
But I think that we need real examples, and that's not silly. That is true. That is real. And I would say other people go through that, and they need to know that it's okay, and you need to hear that from someone else that's going through it and say, okay, now that is a lie that Satan's telling
Yeah.
So my Taylor is ADHD. I don't know if you are or not. But he is ADHD, and
Hmm.
he struggles to focus and do things. And this is something that Satan's attacked him, so I guess I'm kind of like the other side of the coin in this situation. And he said before, like, I just can't do things like you, or whatever the situation is. We also fight too.
me.
um and so I've had to tell him before, like, in the middle of fights, like, we are not fighting each other. We're not in competition with each other. Like, this is
Yeah.
not a scoreboard of like, well, I can do this and I can do this, or I can do this. Like, we're not competing with each other. You're not at war with me. And that's how Satan really, I guess, can say lies to him about he doesn't feel good enough in whatever box in his world.
Yeah.
Uh, because he and I are very different. I am very OCD, so I'm very much like, I'll lock in and we'll do the thing. And that's not how God made him. That's not, I don't need to be married to another OCD person, because we would probably, like, it just wouldn't work. And
Yeah.
God knew we needed each other.
It wouldn't work for the rest of
It
them.
wouldn't work for the rest of the world.
No.
And you know, it is there are just things that Taylor's better at me or I'm better. And that just means we need to look at those things and say, okay, Taylor is a way better cook than me. And it's not the done thing in today's society, but he cooks almost 100% of our meals. Like, I don't even know where a lot of the stuff is in the kitchen anymore because
Yeah.
he puts it when his brain needs it and he does the cooking. And that just works better for us. And I'm really about like,
Yeah.
let's break down some walls. Because God didn't call us to have a marriage of like what society looks like.
Yeah.
He called us to a marriage of what's going to edify him, and what edifies him is using our talents and skills to work together. And it's so easy to try to put yourself in war with your spouse. And that's not what we're doing. We're fighting the enemy. We're fighting busyness. We're fighting Satan attacking our children, Satan attacking our home. And the thing, I've said this to my younger adults all the time, marriage, I think, is the most sacred human relationship you'll have. It's not more sacred than your relationship with God because it's the only lifelong commitment you make with anyone.
Yeah.
And it's one you choose. You know, you can't choose who your kids are. You can't choose who your parents are, who your grandparents are. You can choose friends, but like your friends are just not like what your spouse. That
Yeah.
very sacred. They see the absolute worst of you. They see the absolute best of you, and they pick everything in between of you. And if Satan can attack and win on the marriage, divorce ripples throughout the entire family. It doesn't
Yeah.
just stick with those two people. I mean, that affects your kids, it affects your parents, it affects your siblings, it affects your friend group. It touches everyone in your community. And if Satan can win that, whew, he's really done damage. Now, not saying that God can't redeem. My Taylor was married before he did get divorced. Not for me, but you know, he was divorced and then we got married. And God used his brokenness and he used my brokenness and he restored that. Now it doesn't mean that things don't hurt. Poor Liam still has to go from house to house, and it's you know, and we're different, and it's he has to live with that. And so yeah, it's still tough. Like we still have to live with choices that have been made. But when we realize our war isn't with each other, it's with Satan, and Satan's gonna attack this so hard because I personally believe it's the most sacred human relationship you have.
Yeah, I agree. I think I haven't really thought about the marriage relationship in that way before, in that you're right, when a couple decides to not be married anymore, the effect and the opportunity that that gives Satan to jump into all of these different um, families and friend group. Like I just haven't really thought about it in that way before and the impact. But I think the opposite is true, right? That your marriage impacts all those people as well. And
Right.
so what an opportunity for either God to be honored and glorified in that relationship or Satan to get free reign of all of those people that you're connected to. And again, not something I was expecting to talk about today, but it's so good.
Thanks for coming to the table. We hope today's conversation encouraged you as you seek Jesus in the big moments and the little ones. Check out the show notes for any scripture, resources, whatever we talked about today. Feel free to share this episode, leave a comment, ask a question, or share your thoughts with us. Come back and join us again next week. We'll be right here. If you haven't already, go follow or subscribe wherever you listen and find us on socials to catch up if you don't have time to listen throughout the week, or just to find out what all the next episodes are about. Also, we know you have things to say, examples to share, wisdom to give, so look for opportunities this week to share with those around you or even with us. All right, we'll see you next time.